Arizona Cardinal fans, Eric with BirdGang live, coming at you from the fan cave, the ultimate BirdGang fan cave. We're back from Chicago. What a game. One thing we opened the show with, Larry. How about it, man? I don't know. Larry had a phenomenal game in Chicago. The fans were going crazy. The Larry chant was nonstop ringing through the building in Chicago. It was funny to see some of those Chicago fans. They didn't even know what was going on. But ultimately, again, Eric with BirdGang Live. Let's say goodbye to Larry. Brian, my co-host, I'll put Larry to the side there. And Brian, what I say? I mean, what a trip! What a trip! Out of all the road games we've been on, most spectacular. I mean, I can't say enough. I got there. It was a little wet and rainy. Had a little trouble getting to my team hotel. Got in about 2:15 in the morning and in the rain, soaking wet. But you know, it was a trooper, and we made a good trip of it. What's some of your thoughts on just getting?
Oh yeah, I mean, come game day, there was no question that the weather cleared up nice. It was a beautiful day, but just seeing the amount of fans, especially a little bit of pregame where people met up and meeting fans on the road and talking to them, and then at the end of the game, everybody kind of rallied in the corner of the end zone.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And, I mean, the game started out, it was funny. We sat down. We both got ourselves a Chicago dog, which I have to give props out there in Chicago, man. Those hot dogs, they know how to get it done in the stadium. That was like a gourmet hot dog. I don't know. So we were sitting front row. We took in some of the pregame action. It was good seeing the players up close and stuff. And just from the get-go, I looked at you, and within seconds of kickoff, I said, what do you think if David Johnson takes this to the house? And then, do you remember that? I mean,
I remember it differently. I remember saying that myself, actually.
You said it to yourself?
But back on the hot dogs, too, I mean, it was a nice relief instead of those stadium dogs we get back at home here with the crumpled up hot dogs.
It is a dry heat, so I think that has something to do with it here. Those hot dogs do dry out. But yeah, after David Johnson took it to the house, you could hear a pin drop in Soldier Field. I mean, I've never been in a stadium gone so quiet ever before. And and continued, and it was kind of at first the game started off, it was a back and forth battle. We scored, they scored, and then all of a sudden Jay Cutler went down with a mystery injury after throwing that pick six, and then Jimmy Clausen just not really. You could tell he doesn't get a lot of snaps in practice. He was throwing balls into the ground. I think the Cardinals really turned it up then. The fans were into it. Chicago fans were booing. Anything else that you saw that really stood out?
No, I mean, it felt good going on the road and getting an early lead. That it's really difficult on the road. We've always talked about. And to have that happen right away, it felt really good.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, we got up on them and got the fans out of the game. That made a big difference. In all parts of the game, whether all of a sudden we made a turnover, then our defense stepped up. Defense gave up a big play, and then the offense retaliated. So all around, we looked really good.
Yeah, I know. I had the pleasure. I talked to John Brown this morning, and it was kind of funny because I told him he had a great all-around game, and he said, man, I was being held. The whole game I was being held. And you can see it. They can't contain that speed, so they got to hold him. So hopefully, and he drew a lot of penalties too. I think we had 80 yards in penalties just on John Brown, on the penalties that were drawn on him. That helped open up Fitzgerald. The running game looked great. The defense held. They tried to get in on Palmer a couple times, but overall, I couldn't have been happier. I mean, to go on the road and put up 48 points in a hostile environment, Chicago, after they're coming off a loss to the Packers, staring 0-2 in the face. Now, I don't know where their franchise goes from there, but that's not for us to worry about. They got Seattle coming up this week, so they could be 0-3. But definitely, it was a game of the ages. I mean, huge shout out to Captain Cardinal and his crew, Kid, Jay Hastings, Pete, Danielle Lewis, Miss Big Red and stuff. The fans were everywhere. I mean, we met fans. We had fans coming up to us pregame they made the trip from Yuma. They made the trip from Iowa. They made all over the place. I mean, I saw pictures later on Facebook and social media. The trains were packed with Cardinal fans on the way to the stadium. The buses were packed. I know a lot of fans marched from Mother Hubbard's. They had a huge just takeover there. There was just fans everywhere. I've never been on a road game that far away where there's that many Cardinal fans that traveled. I just think maybe it was it was a great weekend in the city. There's a lot to do. The weather was still great. But the people came out. They were there. Cheering at the end of the game was fantastic. I mean, to be in an away stadium and cheer like that, where you have everybody in your group just cheering, and the stadium was empty. If it wasn't for Cardinal fans and the ushers, there was not a Bears fan to be found.
Yeah, it definitely felt good, And it's a close-knit group. You see it's a lot of the same individuals that travel, and get together and meet up either before the games and that sort of thing. And, hopefully that group will continue to grow. We'll get more and more people.
I hope it does grow. And, we try to encourage, reach out to us if you want to talk about going on the road games. We're just tossing our schedule back and forth. So we just finished booking. We have Cleveland coming up, Halloween. That's going to be a blast. We're going to do some live video streaming from the Hall of Fame, as long as they allow us to do that. Hopefully, maybe David Johnson's jersey's still there. We get a little selfie with David Johnson's jersey and cleats. We're going to check out the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Of course, then we're going to be in the stadium representing the Red Sea come kickoff time. Hopefully, the weather holds out for us there. It's Cleveland's known as the mistake by the lake. Well, it's right there, literally on the lake, and maybe we have to get some Cardinal sweaters for that road trip. I don't know. I'll have to see what we can find out. It's too early for the Cardinals Christmas sweater yet, but maybe a Halloween Freddy Krueger style sweater or something.
Right.
So Eric with BirdGang Live will be back in a few minutes and talk some more about this upcoming week matchup between your Arizona Cardinals and division rival 49ers. Cardinal fans, Eric coming back at you live from the Fan Cave. We're talking this week's matchup, your Arizona Cardinals at home in the Nest versus the 49ers. So overall, this will be the 48th matchup of the two teams head-to-head. Cardinals have pulled out 18 wins, while the 49ers have managed 29. Cardinals are looking at a 4-5 overall record versus the Niners at home in the Nest, so this would be the game to get us to 500 against the Niners. Cardinals are coming in on a 2-0 record, pretty high. A lot of expectations right now. I know the Niners are at 1-1, and we're going to need the Nest to be rocking. We're going to need loud. We're going to need to see some false starts and definitely a lot of noise, a lot of pressure. I know just from some of the highlights I caught, I don't think we're seeing the same Colin Kaepernick. I think that the team that has fallen apart, as we know at the 49ers, a lot of the pieces that have left are missing, and Frank Gore with the big run game and stuff, it's starting to show. It's starting to show. Colin Kaepernick looks a lot different out there. He looks like he doesn't have the poise as far as he's shown in his young career so far. He kind of looks like they're running scared. Vernon Davis is huge. I mean, he hasn't done much. I've looked at some of his stats and stuff, and as far as tight ends go, he hasn't really put up much numbers. I don't know what's your take?
I know. Kaepernick threw for a lot of yards last week, but Pittsburgh's defense is really soft against the pass. And then I know coming out, Anquan's always fired up when he comes home to play against us, so that'll be something we'll have to watch for. But what's nice is I think we're one of the top-rated rush defenses right now.
Yeah.
So we should be able to hold Carlos Hyde. I know Reggie Bush is out of the game, so yeah, I'd imagine that as long as we can protect ourselves in the passing game.
Well, I think a big key to it too is the Cardinals' game plan coming in. I think after weeks 1 and 2, the Niners are going to see a lot of passing. We're a passing team. And that's what it is. There's a lot of depth out there. Hopefully, like I said, John Brown gets open and can shake free of some of those holds and stuff like that. But I look, David Johnson, I think he's got all this excitement under his belt. Hopefully the young kid reels it in and feeds off the home crowd enthusiasm. And I'd love to see him put up 100 yards plus rushing this week. And I think it can be done. The defense of the 49ers is still questionable. So there's a lot of things to look forward to going into Sunday's game.
Yeah, I just hope John Brown doesn't get discouraged after last week. He was an integral part of the game. There's no question about it. The pass interferences that he drew, some of the holds and stuff. The teams have to key on him, and that gave Larry the opportunity to catch 3 touchdown passes. So maybe this week, he understands that, that's part of the role, to draw some players away from some of the other key individuals on the team.
Yeah.
And maybe this week will be his week to break out. We hope so.
And I'm thinking, we could have a big game from Michael Floyd, too. He's shown up in the past against the Niners with some big catches. He's probably a little closer to being 100% healed now. Probably went a little light in Chicago. kind of watched the coverage on him. He was pretty well covered. So maybe Bears were game planning that a lot of stuff was going to go to him. So Michael Floyd could be a good one to watch this week too. Anything as far as that you take from the road game, the Bears game, that the Cardinals need to make improvement on? Or was there any downside you saw in that game?
Well, I think pass protection, but I think with Upati coming back this week and Massey back at the right tackle, hopefully that's going to be a big upgrade. You know, there was a few times that Carson got hit down low, and they got to him. We haven't given up a sack yet, but there's definitely some pressure there and a few hits. Obviously, we don't want to take those type of hits.
I saw a few guys trying to go, you know, from our vantage point there in the end zone, a few guys were trying to go a little low on Carson. So, well, with that said, Cardinal fans, we'll be back in a minute to wrap things up and talk maybe a little Ring of Honor. Cardinal fans, we're back in the fan cave talking Cardinals football Sunday, 49ers versus Arizona Cardinals. Big celebration at halftime. Adrian Wilson, A-Dub, a.k.a. the Hitman, you know, one of the guys who helped turn this franchise around. His name is going to be ever immortalized up there in that Ring of Honor. He's the 15th one to make it up to the Ring of Honor. Last year, of course, we had Kurt Warner. It was a fantastic celebration. So I know the fans are going to be cheering loud for A-Dub. He is a huge fan favorite. I mean, I watched some of the highlights of him just laying hits. My favorite is I can remember when he laid out, and the quarterback's name is going to escape me, from Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, there's no question. I don't know what shit you're talking about, but watching A-Dub play, you know, going to the games, so many teams feared A-Dub when he was yep. You know, in the backfield and
oh yeah, and I mean the guy was amazing on the safety blitz. How many times did he come through on the blitz and get a sack or get a pass deflection? And I don't know how many. He holds a record for multiple 99-yard touchdown returns for interceptions. So, you know, just an amazing overall career. And I read his story that was online about it. Very, very humble guy, super humble guy. And to cap off his NFL pro career, you know, I think he left us a little too soon. I would have liked to seen him play one more year with us. He finished off elsewhere in the league and stuff. But overall, great guy, great career. And truly deserves it. So I know it's going to be a moment for him. I heard him talking on News Talk Radio this week earlier, and everybody's joking about, is he going to start crying before he gets to the podium or once he gets to the podium, because he's that emotional of a guy about it.
Yeah, I read the story where he talked about his brother this week as well. But yeah, I don't know how he'd fit in today's game. He was definitely a hitter and a lot of helmet-to-helmet shots. You know, but that was part of the game then. There's no question about it. I'm sure he'd adjust himself. But he's definitely a great player.
And that was the thing. There was so many wide receivers that feared going across the middle because they could hear A-Dub's footsteps no matter where they were on that field. And they knew that if they didn't get down in time with that ball, they were getting lit up. I mean, amazingly lit up.
Yeah, that guy was fierce. No question about it. He was built, that's for sure.
So, in closing, fans, we'll be out there at our tailgate setup, the East Green Lot again. We're going to try to be around pole number 70, 73 area. Look for our tents. We'll have a BirdGang flag flying. We'll have some BirdGang banners. Stop by. I do have some more. I got in a fresh order of our I Am BirdGang wristbands. I know I gave my last one off my wrist in Chicago. This is an old one that I had. And the fans are loving it. So it's good to see the fans walking around wearing our stuff, supporting the BirdGang and the efforts of the fan club and stuff. Our shows are going to grow a little bit more and more. I spoke with a few players on the road. I don't know if you guys caught some of our road interviews. Some of the players were gracious enough. Heck, even the president/owner, Michael Bidwell, gave us a great video shout out on the road. We've put that out on our Twitter feed, BirdGang Road Crew on Twitter. You can also catch it on a video snippet on our YouTube channel at BirdGang Live on YouTube. So please subscribe to us on YouTube. We're just trying to help it grow and get the passion so we can have more fans with us on the road all the time. It's always great when that first fan we meet says, this is my first road trip, you know, and it's kind of like, well, we're old dogs with the road trip. We know how it goes, but it's always fun. It's always different. It's a different experience. There's more and more fans, and we're just trying to bring that all to everybody. So we'll see you guys at the Nest. Be safe in the tailgates. Party responsibly. And again, stop by our tailgate and see us. Green East Lot, BirdGang Road Crew Tent. And follow us on Twitter. If you're having a hard time finding us out there, just send us a tweet. We'll be out there. We're going to do a little bit of live periscoping from the tailgate for fans that are out of state. So we'll see you, and hopefully we'll come to you next week talking 3-0. Thanks.